So I would like to welcome you all to Medbosavana. This is a meditation center. So I think you might have a little bit of idea that this is a Buddhist center as a label. So generally the discussions that we have here, we start from the questions from the audience. So I would like to welcome you all to question me whatever you have, any doubts about the philosophy of Buddhism or anything that goes with your life, any matter in your life. So based on those questions, we can continue the discussion.
How do I start to meditate?
Okay, that's a very good question. He's asking me, how should he start to meditate? May I ask you a question? Aren't you meditating right now?
I don't know. I haven't thought of it like that.
So, it is not about that you do not know about how to start meditation, that you are unaware that whether you are meditating right now or not. That is where the problem lies. So, actually what you have to do is not to question on how to start meditation, you have to identify whether you are meditating right now or not. Because the meditation that we talk here is mindfulness meditation, which is termed as vipassana in the local language. Are you aware of mindfulness? Some do and some not. So, for mindfulness meditation, there is no start, there is no beginning, there is no end. It is a continuous process. And so we can go to that later, to that aspect. But for now, I will answer your question like this. Don't search how to start meditation. Search whether you are meditating right now or not. If you get the answer for that question, your entire life will be a meditation. Otherwise, you have to go from one mass to another to ask how to do meditation. Do you get my question? Do you get it? Okay. So, any more questions? It may be on the philosophy of Buddhism. If you don't know, you can question me on that. Or if not, as like something which really matters to you in your life.
So I would like to ask how long it takes to become a Buddhist monk.
A Buddhist monk, there is no particular time like that. But in practice, if I tell the practice that we follow here, if somebody wants to become a monk at this center, we would ask him to be as a layperson for a couple of months. And we let him to stay here with us. That is, it is not because that we are reluctant to let him to become a monk. We want him to realize whether he can adjust to that life. So we ask a person to stay around 3 to 4 months and to observe the lifestyle of a monk, and to decide at the end of the day whether you would like to enter to this or not. It's like a probationary period. Otherwise, if somebody comes here and if he just shave his hair and put a robe on him, he will be lost after some time. Yes, definitely.
So you keep saying he and him. Is there a her?
Yes, of course. There are nuns. We have a nuns monastery also. You will meet them after the discussion. You will meet them definitely.
So it's not a female monk, it's a nun.
Just as a terminology, we use the term nun because there is no such use as a female monk. But in the local languages, we call the monks as bhikkhu and the nuns as bhikkhuni. So, female monks. Yes, you can use that term as well. We refer to them as nuns.
Is there an age limit for the people you accept?
Okay. Yes, there is. Uh, it says that because the purpose of becoming a Buddhist monk is to be enlightened. That is the final goal of any of the monk. They want to get enlightened, to understand the universal truth. So it's been said that you need a particular amount of wisdom to attain the enlightenment. You have to develop a certain level of wisdom to attain enlightenment. So if that level of wisdom will accrue in oneself after reaching 7 years. So generally, if the child is older than 7 years, he has the capacity to be a monk. That is because his purpose is to get enlightened. That you can get enlightened from your age 7. So that is the minimum age. Yeah.
What's the maximum age?
There is no such age. There is no maximum limit to it. There's only a minimum limit.
So do you get to like ever take your robe off and then go down to the beach and hang out there sometimes?
Yeah, we do not go to the sea in this. There is 2 parts in here. The bottom is like a sarong. So we usually go to have a bath in that attire. We do not get into water with the robe.
It's the same color orange?
Yes, the same color.
You can do that.
Okay. Oh, you're talking about the Christian culture. Now, here at this center, the practices may be different from one center to the other. In this center, what we promote is a free life. So we don't have a hard and fast routine. Of course, for the ease of administration, we have a time to wake up. We have a routine for say. But if we wish that we want to go out and have some fun, we would go. Because someone would get out from a lay life to become a monk, not to make his life a prison again. A Buddhist monk is totally a free soul. So we respect that and we live according to that.
In Vietnam, they said when you went in to become a monk that you left your family and you can't see them. Is that true?
In Vietnam? Well, I don't think that statement is 100% true. You can always go back and pay a visit. You can. If your parents are really old, you can take care of them as well. We are allowed. In Sri Lanka, we are allowed.
For a follower of Buddhism, what would be a typical lifestyle in terms of following the path of Buddha, and you're just living in a normal life, you're not a monk? What might be some of the things you do to maintain your belief system?
You're asking about the Tao Buddhism? Or
I don't know the difference.
okay, now we have the Theravadic practice in Sri Lanka. So the lifestyle, well, it depends on the center, because only the scripts have given certain guidance. It has not enforced a routine for a monk. So it is actually his wish. Because if you do not like the routine of a particular center, you can always move on to another center. And you can build your own center if you want. So there is no such hard and fast routine.
May I ask what brought you to Buddhism?
What? Sorry?
What brought you to Buddhism?
Okay. Well, now when you say Buddhism, I didn't come to Buddhism as a follower of a particular religion. So, if somebody asks me whether I'm a Buddhist, I would frankly say no. I'm not a Buddhist. Because if somebody asks what is the religion of Gautam Buddha, was he a Buddhist? He was not. What is the religion of Jesus Christ? Was he a Christian? He was not. All those people, they were philosophers. They found something, they understood the purpose of life, and they explained it to the public. They didn't want to form a religion. What they wanted to let the people to understand that there is a particular way of living which will reduce your suffering, and ultimately you will reduce from all the worldly pain. So, in that case, I might have fallen into all those philosophies, not only to Buddhism. What I wanted is to understand the purpose of life. I didn't want to understand the religion Buddhism. So once I understood the purpose of life, then I realized that truth is there in the Buddhist scripts, and that is also found in the Christian scripts and also in the Islamic scripts. So how can I call myself a Buddhist and demarcate myself to a particular religion if I find all the universal truth in everywhere, almost everywhere? Did you understand? Yeah.
So if these universal truths can be found in Islamic, Christian and Buddhist followers, then anyone, since it's universal, anyone of any belief can still, they're following the same universal truth, though they may call it by a different name.
You have to take it like this. Though you're following a particular religion, it doesn't mean that you're following the universal truth.
Right.
Because the religion and the truth are two different things. And also there are no truths. In plural, there's only one truth. So all the religions, all the philosophies may direct you towards that truth. But I won't say the religion would do that, because religion is a culture. Religion, obviously a culture. It has nothing to do with the truth. So what I can say, I will reorganize your statement like this. You can be a follower of any religion, but still you can try to understand the truth. Is that correct? Okay.
Could you talk more about that truth?
More about the truth. That is the first answer that I gave to your first question. To understand that you are meditating in every instance. I'll explain a little bit to you. Because, we have a belief that, and we have a habit to challenge the rhythm of life all the time. Now, let's say in this building you find 3 doors to enter, right? And couple of windows. If you want to come into this building, or if you want to exit from this building, the most convenient way to go through these doors. Am I correct? Right. But what most people do in their life is that, let's say all these doors are closed. They do not at least try to open the door and go out. They always try to go through the walls. So then what will happen to them? What will be the result? They'll be stopped. And also, when you knock your face on the wall, you will suffer. That is what happening with your life. So, there is a universal rhythm which exists here, that if you want to go out or if you want to come in, you have to use the doors. So, if you do that, you will never suffocate. You will flow with the rhythm. That is the truth. That is what we are not doing. If you can understand how to go along, sing along with the universal rhythm or dance along with the universal rhythm, you have understood the truth. You have no problems. Your questions will be over. There will be no such time to meditate. There is no beginning to that meditation. There is no end to that meditation. That is what the first question that you raised was very important. Though I gave a very simple answer. That is the underlying meaning of that. We always think that there is something to be achieved. Right? That is how we always feel. In our life, there is something to be achieved. If we are not meditating right now, we need to be a person who meditates. If you were not a doctor once in your childhood, you want to become a doctor. If you are not an engineer at a particular age, you want to go to the engineering school and to become an engineer. And likewise, now you have an issue that you are not meditating, you want to go to a meditation center and learn how to meditate. You always have some expectation in the future and you want to become that expectation. Isn't it correct? So, let's say you're here and you want to go to this place. You are at one particular point, you want to travel to another particular point, and then what will you have? You have a journey. If you have a journey, what will you have? Experience, obviously. What else? Obstacles, more of them. And because of the obstacles, you will definitely get exhausted. If you have a journey to travel towards any expectation, if there is a journey, there is exhaustion. So understanding the rhythm means, if you want to relieve the pain, what is the best thing to do? Give up the expectation. Then you are what you are. You have no journey to travel. You are the one. And you are the truth. But we can't do that because from our childhood we have been trained in such a way to go after expectation. That is what we were told by the society. Your parents, your friends, your neighbors, your relations, all of them. Even my parents, my relations, my neighbors, all of them. They came to us and they told us, you have to become someone. And we got the goal, we got the expectation to become someone. And then we had a journey to travel. But that journey will never end because once we reach a particular point, we have another expectation. At least in the latter part of our life, we want to meditate and have some calmness in the mind. But still we are on the journey. Until we understand all those things happens as long as you have expectations in your mind. Yes.
A lot of people practice yoga. How does that pertain to Buddhism?
Yoga is an activity. As like meditation. Meditation is also an activity. It is an activity, or let's say you're cooking. It is an activity. You're singing. It is an activity. Somebody is dancing. It is an activity. Similarly, yoga and meditation, all those avenues are activities. So in Buddhism, we do not talk about activities. We are concentrating on the mind. It teaches a particular way to change the way that you think. Once you understand that fundamental principle, how to change the way that you think, you can engage in any activity and to get enlightened. And you can become enlightened. Once you understand that message, even if you go and keep on cooking in your kitchen, you can get enlightened. So, if you do yoga, you can get enlightened. It is not because of the activity, because you have changed the way that you are thinking. So, yogic practice was developed in Hindu culture. The religion of Hinduism was developed by one enlightened person. If you know about him, he is Shiva. They say that he was existing 40,000 years ago. So he was an enlightened person. He introduced the yogic practice. He introduced the yogic practice along with the philosophy. How to change the way of thinking. And then while you change the way of thinking, he gave an activity. Okay, now thinking the way that I told you, do that activity. Now what has happened in today's world, they don't know the way to change the thinking, they still follow the activity. But unless you change the way that you think, none of the activities that you follow will not make you enlightened. But today, the yogic practice is there without the philosophy. As like the meditation. The meditation is there without the philosophy. And also the worshipping, the rituals in temples, in Hindu shrines, in your Catholic churches, all those rituals are there without the philosophy. It is not only the being a yogic. You know all these rituals, the sermons that you preach, and how do you call it? The sermons, the prayers that you say in church, all those things are activities. All those activities were given along with the philosophy, but the philosophy is now lost. But still they follow the activity. And they think just by following an activity they can get enlightened. So there is no problem of doing yoga and understanding Buddhism, because it is another activity. You can understand the way of changing the mind, how to change the way that you think, and then engage in any activities. Now then, there's a good question. How to change the way that you think? Isn't it? Who got that question? Okay. That is the best question to be asked thereafter. So, the changing the way that you think happens like this. In our mind, we always have pictures inside. Now, when you are coming to Sri Lanka, you might have definitely had a picture about how your tour should be, based on the catalog that you followed, the brochures that you followed, and the recommendations by your guides or from your agency. You might have had a picture about the tour, how it is going to be, isn't it? Did you come with a picture or not? Some sort of a picture. Who created that picture? It was created by your mind. It is not only for your Sri Lankan tour. Whatever you do in your life, your mind will create a picture beforehand. Just plan about your return back to the hotel. The mind will create a picture about it. And let's say that you are looking for a partner. You have a picture how your partner should be, isn't it? Would you just fall in love with anyone under the sun? Did you do that? No. You always had a picture inside how my fiancé or fiancée should be. And if somebody matches to that, you might have fallen in love with that person. And always you might have had a picture how your children should be in future, what they should, whom they should be, and how they should behave. You have your own pictures about everyone, and you already have a picture about me as well. How should I behave? You might have heard about Buddhist monks. You might have a particular picture in your mind that a Buddhist monk should behave like this. He should wear like this. He should have a shaven head. Those are the pictures that we have about everyone. So that is the reality of the mind. Your mind always creates pictures. We term those pictures in one word as expectations. Those are our expectations about life, our expectations about people, our expectations about incidents. You always have one picture. You don't have two pictures, just one picture. But when it comes to the material world outside, it's always, there is a duality. Now let's say you're here with an expectation to learn about meditation, right? Let's say you're here to learn about meditation. That is your expectation. But now you're having this discussion. In this materialistic world, your expectation may subject to two things. Either your expectation might come true, either I might preach some nonsense. As like that I'm doing right now. Without teaching you meditation, I'm talking nonsense. Right? Can you see, you always have one dream, but when it comes into practice, there is a duality. You expect your daughter or your son to be like this, but in reality, he can either be your wish or either somebody that you did not wish. Isn't it correct? Don't you have experience like that? Just imagine the affairs that you might have had in past. You might have ended up in one and married to one person, so don't think about him because there's no point of thinking about that. But think about the previous people. Why did you break up? You had an idea about your boyfriend or a girlfriend. When you started living together, you in practice, when you start living together, you understood my wish, whether it is there or not. Whether he is according to your wish or not. If he was according to your wish, you might have married him. If it was not, you might have ended up in a very bad breakup, isn't it? That is how it happens. So that is the ordinary way of thinking. We think only about one thing. That is the way that we think generally. We don't realize that outside world works in a duality. There's always a 50-50 chance to your wishes to become true. Either it may happen or may not happen. So how do you change the way that you think now? Your mind might create millions of dreams, millions of pictures. But now you know one thing. In the outside world, when it comes into reality, I should expect two things to happen. Either my wish might come true or it might not. Isn't it very simple? Changing the way that you think. Knowing that, do whatever the activity that you have to do. Either yoga, either meditation, either swimming, either dancing, whatever you wish. But I say, if you're a bartender, you can go and do that also. If you're dancing in a nightclub, you can go and do that also. You just have to change the way that you think. Isn't it very simple? So then, even though you understand this, since you have a habit of expecting your wishes from outside, now from next day onward, you won't understand that there is always duality outside. You will always expect your guide to be like this. He should treat you like this. And when you go to the hotel, the dinner should be served like this. The waiter should come and be polite to you. You have all those expectations. Right? Right? That will happen because we have that habit. And we have been living in that habit for years. So we cannot easily change the way that we think. It will happen gradually. So how do you recognize whether you are still suffering from the same old habit? Then you will realize like this. In the next incident which happens to you, let's say your waiter tonight might spill some water on your most expensive dress. You will go mad about it. You will scold him. The roof will just go. Right? The entire hotel will look at you. And you're shivering, you're red, you're shouting, you're screaming at the fellow. That's okay. I don't label you as an angry person. No, that is not my way. That's okay to be mad. That's okay to shout. That's okay to scold. There's nothing wrong in it. Don't try to change it. That is who you are. But now, you know something. You can identify the expectation that you had in your mind. Let the incident to go. It might take about couple of hours to get away from the anger. But after you got away from the anger, you will realize you had a frame inside. What was the expectation? The waiter should not spill anything on my expensive dresses. That is your wish. That was your wish. But in the outside world, it can happen in two ways. Either waiter can serve the glass of water properly, or either he can spill it on my dress. There's a 50-50 chance of happening that. I couldn't realize it that instance because I had a way of thinking, which is a worldly way of thinking. Because of that, I got anger. But now, can you still be angry with that person? If you understand the expectation in your mind, and if you realize that if you did not have that expectation at that moment, he comes and spill wine on your dress, nothing. Because you didn't have any expectation that it should be clean. No expectation. So then what will happen? If you do this in 6 months, believe me or not, the time that would take you to understand the difference between your expectations and the duality from outside will shrink. The time that you will keep anger inside your mind will shrink, gradually shrink. And someday, you will understand your expectation and the duality in the very instance the incident happens. Thereafter, you won't suffer from anger. So, that is the way that you change the thinking. So, having activities is good because once you are active, you will engage in situations like this. If you stay inactive after learning this, if you go and sleep throughout the day, you won't learn your lessons. After learning the nature of duality outside, you have to go out to the society and do your regular stuff. Do engage in activities. Then you will meet people who will teach you what you have not understood, the missing parts of the lesson, and they will complete you. You will be completed by the society, as that you have been destroyed by the society. So far, until you understood the message, the entire society was a Satan for you. After understanding the changing, the way of thinking, the entire society will be the God. You will start living in paradise. You don't have to go after in search of paradise after death. You're living in paradise. Yes.
Some of the evils that go on in the world today.
Yeah.
But those are evils that need to be changed. So I would have an expectation that I need to work toward improving.
Yeah, social service, social welfare. That's a good expectation. Having expectations is not a bad thing. What I say is, it's okay to have expectations, but in outside world there is always, what did I say? Duality. You can work towards to end poverty in the world. That is your expectation. But what will happen in the outside world? Your expectation might come true or it might not come true. Yes, because we are really worried about at this moment, at this center, being mindful about our anger, not about other people's anger. We can change the entire world if we can stop the anger inside, because then you can take better decisions. Once you are angry, can you make better decisions? But if somebody makes you angry at a particular moment, on the very next moment, if you can understand this is something to do with the expectations and the duality in the nature, now your mind is calm. Now you can take the best decision to resolve the issue. Sometimes the best decision may be slapping the person on his face. But you are doing it mindfully, not in anger. So you can slap him harder. Right? Sometimes it may be telling him, advising him kindly. But if you are in angry, you can never do that. Would you believe you can be kind to a person if you are angry? You can't. But if you are mindful, this is mindfulness. If you are mindful about your expectation and what happens outside, it's always in a duality, then you can take the best decision. You will be the best social worker. If you are doing business, you will be the best businessman, because you will never get mad with your employees. You can show the angry face, but mindfully. Because when we live in the society, you can't meditate and live, You can't keep your eyes closed to everything. You have to deal with people. To deal with people, there are ways. Because some people, they will follow your words. They will take your advices. But some will not. For them, you have to be a little bit strict. That you have to do. We are not going to change the way that you live. What I will change is the way that you think. And I will make your suffering end inside. I'm not worried about the outside. Once the suffering is all gone inside, you can change the entire world. Because they will observe, look how amazing this person is. She was aroused up to the maximum, but she's calm. She has a solid mind like a diamond. They will observe you. That is the best welfare that you can do to the society. They will observe you. You will be a symbol of success, a symbol of enlightenment. Don't you like to be somebody like that? Because if that lamp has lit inside, if you are enlightened, it's like a lamp. Now you are giving light, producing light. Once you are enlightened, don't keep the lamp under the table. Keep it on the table. Let other people see. They will come to the light and take refuge. That is how we do social service without getting angry. We can change the entire world. Definitely, I'll join with you to do that. But first thing, we should not suffer from inside.
How do you teach children about Buddhism? In other religions, they go to Sunday school or religious training. What do you do in Buddhism?
It's very easy to teach this to children. It's very hard to teach this to you guys. Well, because they can understand this very easily. Because the reason for that is, now when we grow up, we develop our norms inside. I'm a person like this. Okay. I'm a doctor. I'm a lawyer. I'm a respected gentleman. I'm a respected lady. That ego will develop without our knowledge. Only a small thing can make your life a hell. if somebody calls you in filth, if somebody say that you're a donkey or you're stupid, it can burn you down. You will erupt like a volcano. That has happened because you had ideas about yourself, your identity, and you have given more values over the time. Let's say your name is Rebecca, you have given more values to the name Rebecca. Now then, if somebody calls you Rebecca is stupid, you take, okay, how can I be stupid? I studied in Harvard, I had this degree, I am a professor in medical science. How on earth you can call me stupid? What is your education qualifications? Those are the questions that you will come to your mind. That is with the values that you have given to your expectations about yourself. There are expectations about other people. There are expectations, ideas about us, frames about us. We think that we are so beautiful. If somebody calls you that you're ugly, that's the end of the day. Right? But for children, they don't have such hard frames inside about their identity. Just go to an infant, they don't even speak words, call him, you're a stupid child, you're a donkey, you're so mischievous, there's no use of you. He will just smile at you. Won't he? Can you be like that? No values to any ideas? And I will give another example. You win a lottery, $1 million, right? And I will spread all the dollar notes on your bed, and I'll ask you to sleep on it overnight. Can you sleep peacefully on $1 million? But if you keep a 3-month-old child on it, wouldn't he pee on it? Can you see how easy to teach this to children? Can you remember when you were small, if you were given a toy car, how happy you were? That was like you have won a Benz. But now can you be happy with a toy car? If I just gift you a toy car after this discussion, okay, I'm going to give you a toy car. Can you be happy? Even if you get a limousine, would you be happy? You can't. What's the issue? You have a lesser value for a toy car now than a brand new BMW. The difference is not about the material, it's about the value that you have given to those materials from your mind. That makes you suffer. So, if you can bring your children to me, please do it. I would be more than happy to welcome them than you guys. I'll chase you all out. I will continue with them. Let them realize the same thing. It's okay to dream about the world, but when you go outside in reality, can happen always 50-50. Your dreams may come true or may not. You can study having an expectation to become a doctor, but when it come into practice in reality, it can be either you may pass your exams or you may fail your exams. That is the reality. Knowing that, work towards passing the exam. I don't ask after knowing that to go and fail. No. Do the maximum possible that you can in order to pass the exam. But the result, there is always a duality. That is how you have to teach your children. Don't let them suffer in the same hell that you have been suffering.
I just have a question. When I go to work every day, it's a journey. Like, I'm exhausted by the end.
Yeah.
And I work in medicine where I have to give myself, sympathize and talk and talk and talk. And at the end of the day, I just want to start screaming. I'm suffering like I can't do it anymore. And then the next day comes and you have to just pick yourself up. I don't know, like someone just takes pieces of me on a daily basis, and I don't know how to
Overcome that.
reroute that thinking. And I don't know, maybe I need to retire, maybe I need to, I'm not sure.
Definitely you don't have to retire. If you retire, you won't get the answer for your problem. If you retire, you're escaping from the problem. There's no point of escaping problems in your life, because you will definitely going to face the same problem somewhere else. It's always better to solve your problem then and there. So what is the problem now? You're suffering because you're treating people with that. You feel like that your energy is draining, isn't it? I know that feeling, right? Then you have to remember, if you are suffer for any reason, the reason is that you have an expectation in your mind about the result. You have an expectation. Let's say you're a healer. If you try to heal somebody with the expectation that because of my healing techniques that he should get healed. Now, if I consider myself as a healer, and if you are my patients, if I have any expectation that all of you should get something out of this discussion and let your pain go, if I have that expectation, if it does not happen, my energy will be drained out. I will feel exhausted. I will feel like that one of my part is missing, and I have to go and find it somewhere, and I have to gather my pieces and face the next day. If I have the expectation that you all will understand what I talk, I don't have that expectation. I know what the best thing that I can do is to tell what I know, to tell what I have understood. That is the best thing that I can do in the process of healing. It's okay to have the expectation that you all will get healed, but I know in the outside world there is a duality. There will be a set of people who will take advantages of it and get healed. There will be definitely a set of people who will not. I can't change this. There is always duality. The darkness will not be there if light was not there. You cannot call above as up if you have not named the bottom as down. You understand? There will be no right if there is no left. There is no south if there is no north. That is how the duality works. There won't be people who would get healed if there aren't any people who would not get healed. That is the nature of this. This universe is at a perfect balance. Nobody can challenge it. Sorry to, this may disrupt some, maybe your idea about changing the world. If we are to change the world, we have to change the both ends. If we are going to remove poverty totally outside this world, it will never happen as long as the rich is there. The rich is there as long as the poor are there. Dark skins are there as long as the fair skins are there. That is how it works. If somebody would not understand this duality, that it always in two, he has always coupled. He is like a person, as the example that I gave you in the first instance. He has doors to exit this place, but other than using the doors, he is trying to go through the walls. So you are just knocking your face. You are hurting yourself. That is what happening to you. So do whatever you do. Engage in your profession. Do not retire. But do not think that the end result should be your wish. It's okay to have the wish inside, have the expectation, but the end result, it's always coupled. That is how I live.
That is how you live. Do you live in paradise?
So, if there is no suffering, if there is no pain, What else you can call it other than the paradise? Yes, it is the paradise. And I live in the same earth. I am touching the same flow and embracing the same wind. I am feeling the same, I am seeing the same light that you see, that you feel. But how come I am in paradise and you're not? That is why I told you in the first answer that I gave to the gentleman, please understand that you're in a paradise. You're suffering because of the way that you think. You know, when after becoming a monk, I went back to, I was a lawyer before, I was practicing in Colombo. So I went back to see my senior. He's a well-paid guy. He's very rich. He has a lot of SUVs. He had a brand new Merc. So he was talking with me. He was saying that I also don't think too much about this. Even though I have a luxurious Merc, if I am to travel in a bus, it's okay for me. But then I said, do you like to know the way that I think? When I go in your Merc with you, your Merc is mine. That is how I think. When I go in the bus, I think the bus is mine. When I travel in an aircraft, I think the aircraft is mine. Because I know the notion of ownership is just an idea. It's just an idea inside our mind that I own this place. It's just an idea. I own that house. It's just an idea. We are just thinking like that. We cannot, though we like it or not, we cannot put the entire land inside our body, inside our head. It is there. At this moment, your house that you own may be using by someone else, but you still carry the idea of ownership here to Sri Lanka. I don't do that. If I am to own a particular thing, I would own it while I use it. After using it, I am not the owner. I will tell you a very interesting fact. Now, in which hotel that you are staying tonight? Okay, so somewhere in Gaul, is it? Right. Now you stay in the hotel for a night. You can enjoy the swimming pool. You can enjoy your fully furnished room. You can enjoy the sauna or the steam room or the nightclub there. The food there, you can enjoy everything, the beach and everything, all the facilities in the hotel. Would you think if you are the owner of that hotel, you can enjoy the same as you are doing it right now? Check for the owner of that hotel. See his face. They are also in the same hotel. He also has the same sauna. He also has the same steam room. He has the luxury to jump into the same swimming pool, the same water, same air conditioner, same food, same beverages. What is the reason for him to suffer and not you? As long as a person carries the idea of the ownership, he cannot enjoy anything. That is another universal truth. So I can say, I am the owner to this entire earth. I own it. Just to prove, I just need a piece of paper and a pen. I will write a deed in my name. I own the entire earth. That is what you are doing. You just have a piece of paper in your cupboard saying that you own this particular land. So I will do the same. And if I won't, I will write a deed for the entire universe. Don't you like to say like that? You just have to change the way you think. So you have countries to go back. You have houses to go back. Wherever I go is a house for me. If I, by any chance, are you all from US? You know? And Canada, what are the countries that you are from? Australia, okay. And what else? All Australians. Americans and Australians, okay. By any chance, if I come to Australia, to your house, that is my house. I just have to think like that, because obviously you're just thinking that your house is yours. So why can't I think in the same way? Isn't it cool? If you have a place to return, you cannot be in the paradise. If you can be satisfied wherever you are, you're in the paradise. That is the journey I was talking about. I'm satisfied where I am. I'm satisfied who I am. It's me. I'm satisfied with me. From a simple exercise, by changing the way that I was thinking. So I believe you also can achieve it.
So marriage would also be just a new ownership?
If you consider it as an ownership, yes. If it is just an activity for you, no.
Good.
For me, by any chance, if I marry, it will be an activity for me. I would not have an ownership with my marriage.
But as long as there are expectations to that marriage or to that
That is how you create ownerships.
Yeah.
If you do not have expectation, it's just an activity for you. But it would be just an activity for you only if you're enlightened. If not, it won't be an activity for you. You will realize if something happens to the marriage. Whether you claimed ownership or whether you just considered it as an activity. That is the point that you can check the status of your mind.
So could an activity also be being a parent?
Yeah, of course. Raising a child. If cooking rice is an activity, raising a child is also an activity. But to check whether you had any expectations towards the activity, if somebody says, I don't have expectations, I won't believe that word per se. And I would not reject it either. What I would say is, wait until something happens. If something happens to that relationship, if you're still smiling and if you're still in the paradise, then of course you have had no expectations towards that activity. But if by any chance, if a volcano is erupting, or if you can feel even a minor tremor inside, you still have even a little expectation inside. But it's okay, because you have learned your lessons, you still can work on it. It's always better to feel the tremors inside. Then you will realize there is something to advance in this path.
So just to make sure, so if I have a son and he dies, if I'm suffering, then it's because I think I have an ownership.
Yeah, you had expectation that your child should not die. But in the reality, it is always a duality. He can survive or either he can die. If you foresee the both in the very first instance itself, that means you are like having a bird eye view from above. You can see every possibilities. Then what can shake your mind? Because you have already seen it beforehand. So it is not a magic for you. The mind cannot play magic for you. Now you are going to a magic show. You know that they do perform various types of magic. And people say, wow, how amazing it is. You are astonished by it. But if by any chance that magician is one of your friend, he might have revealed all his secrets one day before while having a drink at a bar. And you are going to see the same magic show again. Would you be amazed at it? You know what is happening. He cannot show magic to you again. So what I always say is that your mind is showing magic to you. Since you have not foreseen the possibilities, the duality beforehand, you're suffering, you're laughing sometimes, you're crying sometimes. All those emotions, changes happens because of that.
So, for example, sometimes my mom, she's more calm about a situation than, let's say, me.
Yeah.
Because she have experienced it
Yeah.
many times before. Is that somewhere?
Yeah,
somewhat
that is
similar?
also a thing. Now, the you know that the possibilities, you will get the idea of the possibilities with the age also, with the experience. Now in a hospital, you always know if somebody has met with an accident and he's bleeding all over. His family members will be at a chaos, bringing him to the hospital, crying and screaming at the doctors. But have you ever seen the doctor screaming? Because he has met a lot of similar incidents before. That is why in the medical school, they let the medical students to do surgeries before, to dead bodies, to frogs, to rats, starting from that. When they get a new patient, so they do not panic. They have seen that before. So with the age, because of the experience in life, for certain things you do not shake. But I don't call it enlightenment. Enlightenment means you're unshakable to anything under the sun. That is because of the age. You have experienced certain things. Now if you go to Peta, that is somewhere in mid Colombo, you will see people, a skinny people, they are carrying like 100, the stack weighs about 100 kilos. They carry it resting on their shoulders and moving it for kilometers, just walking with that weight. And they are so thin. You cannot even imagine how a person can carry such a weight like that throughout the day. Throughout the day, believe me. Because they will get paid about 100 rupees if they carry one bag. Right? This is very heavy bags I'm talking. And they do it for throughout the day to earn their livelihood. Even a bodybuilder would not be able to continuously do it throughout the day. So they can bear that pain. They can bear that weight. Are they enlightened? No. They are used to it. Getting used to something and getting enlightened is two different things. Right? So when you grow up, with the experience that you have, you are used to a lot of things. So it means only this, that you will be unshakable by similar instances which you have experienced. But a total alien experience may totally create a chaos inside you. But if you understand the totality about your mind, none of those new experiences can create any shake inside. You understand? That means you understood the principle clearly, that all the expectations outside there is a duality. You have that clearly inside. So do you have any more questions? I think we have come to a very interesting point. You should have more questions. So how do you meditate once you go back? Now you're here at a meditation center to learn about meditation. So how do you do this again? You don't have to do anything. Just walk freely. Go back to your hotel. Enjoy your tea. Enjoy your dinner. Enjoy your breakfast. Enjoy your tour. Don't change anything in your life. Don't think about meditation. definitely there will be angels from the paradise. They will come and tell you omens. That angel might come in a face of a waiter who would spill some water on your most expensive dress. The angel will come in form of a grandchild who would do very bad thing in front of you. The angel will come as a tuk-tuk driver in Sri Lanka who would try to knock you down on the road. The angel will come in any form. The angel will come as an angel itself and make you happy also sometimes. So what you have to do is to be with the feeling inside. What do you feel inside with those angels, with those omens? Do I feel burning? Do I feel a tremor? Do I feel joy? Do I feel pleasure? So if I am suffering, if there is a burning, if there is a tremor, if there is a pleasure, if there is a happiness, all those things is happening because I have not understood the duality about the life. I had an expectation, I had a wish. That wish did not come true in the reality, therefore I am at a chaos. My wish came true, therefore I am happy. Both instances you have to study. Not only the suffering parts, but start from the suffering part. Leave the happiness part aside for the moment. But eventually when you develop in this mindfulness meditation, you will realize even the happiness inside you has been created when your wishes come true in reality. So then what will happen when you understand the both extremes? You will reach an eternal bliss. It is like 100 million times greater than the happiness that you are enjoying right now. So your meditation will be starting from the moment that you wake up till the moment that you go back to sleep. And the only thing is, you have to be in a discussion like this once in a while, because there are certain things that you have to clarify when you be with your mind. For that, I can accommodate you. You don't have to come to Sri Lanka again. There are sermons like this being uploaded to the YouTube where we have discussions with groups like this done in English. So once a month you can listen to it if time permits. And then some things inside your mind which you had doubts will be clarified. You get clarifications. And sometimes in those sermons, then my chief monk has done those sermons. I have been the translator in those videos, in most of the videos. So he has taught many aspects about the human mind. Because in this universe there are a lot of rhythms. There is only one truth. But once you understand the truth, you find lot of rhythms, lot of beats. So all those rhythms are being revealed. You will understand it little by little, and once you start to live with your mind, you will realize it with your experience. Okay, I am experiencing that rhythm right now. One day you will get to know about the entirety about your mind, then you're free. You don't have to change anything in your life. There is no particular moment to meditate. Your entire day is a meditation for you. Isn't it cool? That is the mindfulness meditation. Because I know if you go to other centers, if you go to about 99%, there is a chance they will tell you to practice stillness meditation. That to concentrate about your influx and the outflux of the air, the breath, inhale and exhale. To concentrate. You can concentrate and you can achieve many goals in the stillness meditation. But that happiness will last as long as you have closed eyes. Once you wake up from the meditation, once you open your eyes, you have to deal with the same maniacs in the society. You cannot do meditation in front of them. right? If you keep your eyes closed while you drive, you know what will happen to you, right? So I always prefer an open eye meditation, where the calmness inside your mind is untouchable for any circumstance. So if you can achieve that, even if you close your eyes, you're still at a peace. If you open your eyes, you're still at a peace. So what is best? You have to decide. So do you have any more questions? Did you understand what I said so far? Was it understandable? Okay. Because I was talking nonsense. That's why I'm asking. This may not have been the expectation that you had when you were coming here. You might wanted to have some about 5 minutes closed eye and somebody asking you to breathe like this. I don't want to strain your mind like that. And if you, by any chance, if you come back to Medbo 7 again, don't expect me to be like this. You may wish me to be like this. I may be dancing in front. That is how I am. You know, in Sri Lanka, we have a beautiful culture. It's very beautiful. And in Australia, there is another beautiful culture. If you cling on to one thing from your mind, you cannot enjoy the rest. That's why I think there's a saying that if you are in Rome, you have to behave like a Roman. So if while you're in Sri Lanka, behave like a Sri Lanka. Don't try to behave like an Australian. You won't get the best out of it if you do so. Because when I am in Australia, I try to behave like Australia. I don't know how successful I am. The people might think that I'm crazy. I don't behave like this in Australia. This is just my Sri Lankan model. It's like a lizard, right? Who can change the color. A chameleon, yes. Like a chameleon. You change your color according to the environment. You have to suffer if you have a particular identity. If you can behave like a chameleon, it's very easy to survive. So you can always come and learn how to be a chameleon. We welcome anyone, who would come in good faith to understand this message, to understand his or her own mind, who wants the true bliss for, without any other secret agendas. If somebody comes in that expectation, okay to have that expectation without any secret agendas, you're most welcome. You can stay with us. We'll teach you how to be a chameleon. So, silence says that there are no questions. Is it? Or do you have any more clarifications, please?
I've seen
Yes.
some of these children that are like 6 and 7 years old that are dressed like you and candy and they're going to school. How do they make a choice? Do their parents make a choice? I mean, a child under 15 years old doesn't really have the cognition to make the choice to become.
That's a very good question. That is something to be addressed. Now, earlier, as I told you, the minimum age limit to become a monk was understood at 7 because that is the age that one can get enlightened, has a particular level of wisdom to understand his or her own mind. So, therefore, Gautam Buddha, he allowed people to become monks from age of 7. But But the current practice in Sri Lanka is very pathetic. It is not based on to achieve any enlightenment. All those kids, most of those kids, majority of those kids, 98% or may 99% of them, have been ordained against their wish, because of their parents' wish. Why do they do that? The parents cannot afford to raise their children. They come from very poor families, from very remote areas of the country. So what they see is, to best way, as I said earlier, if somebody wears it, you get free food and free accommodation. So the best way to feed somebody is to make him a monk. But I don't agree with that. I am totally against it. Right? That is why I always say that you should not come here with secret agendas. This is just an advantage. Once you become a monk, you get facilities from the society, but you should not exploit that. But what is happening is, even against the wish of those kids, of those children, they are being ordained because of poverty in this country. But even though I am against it, I know the duality. Because of that, I know in reality, as long as the poverty is there in this country, that practice will be continued. So I don't try to change it. But here at this center, we do not let kids to be monks against their wish. There are, because I have met people, very small ones, they can understand this. They can understand the duality of the nature. They can understand the fact that their mind is creating illusions. And they preach, sometimes better than me. They preach and they ask for them to be, let them to be ordained here. But still we refuse, because we don't have enough facilities to take care of children. Right? Because we all have, all of us are beyond the age of 20s. So, to take care of kids, they have special needs, they should have special care, special attention. We don't have that facility to do that. So we do not allow kids to enter this monastery as permanent residents. But what you have seen, I know that it is happening in Sri Lanka because of poverty. But there is another story. It's okay because they receive proper education once they become monk. And once they reach a certain age, they have their choice whether to go back to their normal life. They have the choice. Because nobody is being imprisoned here. You are like a free soul. You can take your own decision once you are matured enough. Okay then. So we'll wind up the session. So I'm glad that you all came here today. I hope that you might have got something out of this and learned something about mindfulness. So my advice is, don't try to change your lifestyle. If you have been doing meditation, continue with that. There is no problem. If you have been practicing yoga, you can continue with that. There is no problem. But unless you change the way that you think, none of those activities will achieve enlightenment for you. That is another universal truth. So we have arranged some refreshments for you to enjoy. Fresh cinnamon tea, 100% cinnamon. Have you tried cinnamon tea before? Maybe the flavored one with black tea, but this is pure cinnamon. You can enjoy it. So thank you very much, and I wish all of you success, particularly in the spiritual path. So be with the discussion, as I suggested, through YouTube, and try to understand even a little bit. Because if you understand even a little bit about your mind, how your mind creates illusion, that will give you immense pleasure, immense happiness, immense relief of pain and suffering. So thank you very much.